Poor mechanic fixes disabled girl's dream car next day. Her billionaire mom comes to change his life. The garage was quiet, except for the steady clinking of tools and the occasional sigh from Jason Cole, a 32-year-old mechanic who had inherited this rundown shop from his late father. Business was slow, the bills were piling up, and the roof still leaked every time it rained. But Jason had heart, and he never turned anyone away, especially not the girl who rolled in that afternoon. She arrived in a faded green Mustang, barely held together by rust and hope. The passenger door swung open, and out wheeled a young girl, with bright eyes and braces on her legs. Her name was Lily, maybe 16, maybe 17. Her dream car, she called it. My mom doesn't know I came, she said softly, but I saved up for this car. Can you make it run again? Jason blinked. The engine was a mess. Transmission shot, tires worn to the bone. But when he looked at Lily and saw the way she cradled the steering wheel like it was a piece of her soul, something clicked. I'll make it purr, he said. No charge. She stared at him. But I don't want charity. He shook his head. Then let's call it a trade. You bring me some of that fire you've got, and I'll bring this Mustang back to life. Jason worked through the night. He cannibalized parts from other cars, called in favors from old buddies, and even skipped dinner to finish it by morning. When Lily returned, her eyes filled with tears as he turned the key. The engine rumbled to life. Want to drive it? He asked. I can't use my legs, she whispered. I thought maybe not, Jason replied. He'd already modified the pedals with hand controls, something he'd learned from working on a vet's car years ago. Her hands trembled as she took the wheel. She circled the lot with a scream of joy, her laughter echoing into the clouds. The next morning, a black Rolls-Royce pulled up to the garage. Jason stepped out, wiping grease from his hands. A tall woman in a white pantsuit emerged. The power in her stride, the bodyguards flanking her, was clear. This woman was someone Evelyn Carrington, she said. CEO of Carrington Motors. Jason's stomach flipped. Carrington Motors was one of the biggest automotive brands in the world. You fixed my daughter's car? She asked, cool and direct. I did. She told me you wouldn't take her money. I didn't do it for money. She stared at him, then smiled. You're either foolish or honest. I like both. She walked around the garage, inspecting everything. Then she turned to him. How would you like a position at Carrington Motors? Lead innovator. Custom designs for clients with mobility challenges. 6 figures to start, Jason stammered. I don't have a degree. She cut him off. But you have heart. And skills, my engineers don't. You gave my daughter freedom. Now let me give you yours. 1 year later, Jason stood in front of his own division inside Carrington's HQ, name engraved on the door. Cole Innovations. The garage. Bought, renovated, and turned into a non-profit shop to help others like Lily. Lily often visited, now training to be a designer herself, and Evelyn. She'd become more than his boss, a mentor, a friend, and maybe, just maybe, something more. Because sometimes all it takes is one act of kindness to shift the gears of life forever. Jason sat behind his desk, still not used to the luxury. His once calloused hands now worked with 3D modeling software and precision tools. His new team of engineers and techs, some of whom were former mechanics like him, called him boss. Though he still wore the same old flannel shirt most days. Lily was a regular in the shop. After school, she'd roll into the workshop, sketchbook in hand, and throw ideas around with Jason. What if we made hand controls more customizable? She asked one day. Like snap-in modules for people with different strength levels. Jason beamed. You're already thinking like an engineer, she grinned. I'm thinking like someone who wants to drive faster. News of Jason's story began to spread. From Greece to greatness, read one article in Autotech Weekly. A local TV station interviewed him in the garage where it all started. The story went viral. A down-on-his-luck mechanic fixes. A disabled teen's dream car gets hired by her billionaire mom to lead innovation. Emails flooded in from families across the country, wounded veterans, disabled teens, parents with hope and nowhere to turn. Jason's team expanded to meet the demand, and Evelyn, she started spending more time at the shop. At first, just to check on her daughter's passion project. But soon, she was there to talk to Jason over coffee, leaning on the workbench while he fiddled with prototypes. You don't act like a millionaire, Jason said one evening. She smiled. You don't act like an employee. But not everything was smooth. A Carrington board member questioned Jason's appointment. He has no formal education. He was fixing beat-up trucks just months ago. The man scoffed during a meeting. Jason stood and said, You're right. I didn't go to college. I learned from busted engines, crying customers, and 15-hour days. But I know what people need, and I know how to build for them. Lily rolled into the room. You know what else he built? She said he built. Me the chance to be independent, double quotes, silence. Evelyn stood. Mr. Cole has my full backing. And if you walk so, do I. The room froze. He didn't walk, and neither did Evelyn. On the anniversary of Lily's Mustang restoration, Carrington Motors unveiled a new product line. Freedom Driva, series of adaptive cars built for drivers with disabilities. And Jason was the face of it at the press event. He stepped forward and pointed to the green Mustang parked beside the new models. This is the car that started it all. He said, it wasn't just about fixing a machine, it was about giving someone their power back. Every car we build now, that's the mission. Lily was in the front row, cheering. Evelyn came on stage, taking the mic, and now, she said with a knowing glance at Jason, I have one more surprise. She turned to him and held out a set of keys. It's your old garage. I bought it, renovated it, and now it's yours, again free and clear. Not for business, for dreams. A foundation to help kids like Lily learn engineering. Jason looked at her stunned. I don't know what to say. Say you'll keep building, Evelyn whispered, but months later, Jason stood outside the old shop now named Cole and Carrington Foundation Garage. Kids from all backgrounds came here after school, some in wheelchairs, some from struggling families. All of them dreamers. Jason walked through the shop, where Lily was now teaching her first workshop on adaptive design. Evelyn arrived late, holding coffee for two. You still think I changed your life? She asked. Jason took the coffee and looked around the bustling garage. No, he said quietly. You just gave me the keys. You and Lily, you let me drive. And somewhere in the back, the green Mustang purred, waiting to inspire the next miracle. Jason didn't do fancy, never had. But when Evelyn Carrington asked if he wanted to grab dinner somewhere that isn't a garage, he didn't hesitate. Shaved, put on a clean shirt, even borrowed cologne from his neighbor. She picked him up not in a limo, but in a sleek, dark red convertible she'd designed herself in her 20s. They didn't go to a 5-star restaurant. They went to a quiet food truck court by the pier. I needed to get out of that world for a while, she said, dipping her fries into ketchup. You know, when Lily was born, I thought I had it all figured out. But she came out fighting. And she made me realize I hadn't done anything that really mattered until she showed up. Jason nodded. I always thought my dad was crazy for staying in that dusty old garage. Now I get it. When you fix something, when you give someone hope, it's better than money. Their eyes met, and for a long second, there was silence, thick with understanding. Jason, she said finally, I've been in rooms with presidents and kings, but I feel most alive sitting on a plastic bench with you. Just as things seemed to be climbing higher, a scandal hit the press. One of Carrington's top competitors accused Jason of stealing a design. They claimed he had no credentials to create the patented adaptive driving system the company had just launched, and that he must have stolen it from someone inside. Jason was blindsided. Lawyers flooded Evelyn's office. Her board was panicking. I'll step down, Jason said. I won't let this hurt you or Lily. But Evelyn shook her head. You think I built a billion-dollar company without fighting? Off, jackals. Sit tight. We'll clear your name. Behind the scenes, Evelyn hired investigators. Lily organized an online campaign #TrustJason that went viral. Mechanics from across the country, veterans who drove Freedom Drive cars, and disabled teens wrote open letters defending Jason's work. Within days, the truth came out. The rival company had tried to sabotage Carrington Motors and forged documents. Their CEO was arrested. Jason was cleared, but what touched Jason most? Lily had rallied thousands not because he was famous now, but because he had listened, helped, and believed when no one else would. 2 years later, the Cole and Carrington Foundation was operating in 3 cities. It provided free auto mechanic classes for teens from underserved communities, adaptive driving lessons for disabled drivers, engineering mentorship for girls in STEM led by Lily herself. Now in college, on a full scholarship, Jason's dream had become a movement. One afternoon, while adjusting a student's hand control prototype, Evelyn appeared at the garage door holding blueprints. What's this? He asked. Our next step, she smiled. Carrington wants to launch a limited edition of affordable adaptive cars designed by real people, for real people. Jason looked at her, then at the kids working behind them.